Hey guys, good evening. It's Simon doing the preview for Wednesday morning. I think the first thing that's very important to understand is that the ECB president speaks twice tomorrow morning, at least my time, 5:15 a.m. and then again at 7:15 a.m. So he's goosed the futures each time he's spoken. The other important thing to remember is tomorrow's Veterans Day. The bond market is closed. That's my understanding, and because of that, I would anticipate having a fairly significantly slow day after the first hour or two, right? So slow day favors alongside usually as a rule of thumb, and in the afternoon, just like today and almost every other afternoon, we've had consistently this pattern of push down and then push back up. Give me just a second. My dog's decided to speak. Let me bring her in. Again, we've been getting variations to pick back up where I was, but it's generally been a push up to the upside. So the market was pretty much on hold today, waiting for what I think the ECB president is going to say. And then, of course, in front of Veterans Day, it's just going to be, I think, a slow day tomorrow. So anything we get done, we'll have to get done early in the morning, with my guess. With the afternoon, again, I think it'll be relatively slow. So let's jump into where the critical points are. So, as usual, knowing that the ECB's president is speaking, the first thing I want to know is where are we, what's our 30 up and our 30 down. So we closed today, and move this really quick. Is that here? Let's see if I can move this. We closed at 2078. So the first thing I want to know is I know that we're probably not going to move any more than 30 up. That puts me up at 2108. And roughly last week's high. And on the downside, that puts me at 2048. Okay, and then so as I'm constructing this, and again, I do the same thing over and over, especially when we're in a very tight range, right? I'm just reinforcing for myself what the structure looks like. So 50-60 retrace is sitting back at 2032. Again, unless Draghi says something dramatic, it's unlikely that we're going to get into this area, right? So as I look to the left and I expand this a little bit wider, I can see that this 2048 ends a very poorly auctioned area. We have a big chunk of volume right in between here, and I would expect responsive buyers there. There's already a zone sitting there, the same zone that was from today. And then on the upside, actually where I think we'll get rejection based on the new environment we're getting is I'd feel pretty confident taking, or at least looking for responsive sellers from that 2093.75. Check on the 5-minute chart and make sure that that lines up with the volume profile chart as far as where that close was, but I would expect responsive sellers at 2093.75. It's a little bit less than 20 up, but again, it really looks like we've had a little bit of change in nature in terms of the buyer's exuberance to push to the upside. And we're kind of at a little bit of a stalemate, right? They really couldn't make a push down, and they really couldn't make a push up today. So again, I think we'll have responsive buyers. So just to be clear, because I'm a little bit tired, the open gap, responsive sellers. If not, certainly between 2100 and 2110, I expect to have a responsive push back to the downside if we can get down there. On the long side, right, obviously I want to see if we can hold the low at 2061 for this week, all right? And then if we can hold that low, I imagine first time right into this 2055 and then again 2048. Between 2058 and 2048, that's where I want to be a responsive buyer for a push back to the upside. Again, I just don't think we'll get to a 50 retrace, and that's kind of my 2 cents about it. We're still just a good long ways away, and I really expect balance after the first hour tomorrow. All right, so let's go and talk about how the day unfolded just for a second today so we can complete the thought process, right? So you can see there was just such a dramatic difference between, let's spread this out just a minute. So you can see both markets gap down, but you can see NQ, ES immediately was able to get the half gap from the open at 2067, right? And we fell just 2 ticks shy of hitting this zone out of the gate, right? We pushed right up into this, is this today's? That sure does look funny. There we go. That's why I'm not looking at it properly. Let's see if we can compact this just a little bit. Ah, there we are. Okay. So, why does that look funny? Ah, that's 1110. Let's get to 1110B. There we go. Now we got onto the same page. Getting a little bit tired. Apologize. So, if we look from the open, we opened up. The zone was at 2064. Globex low landed a couple ticks in front of that. We came up, came into gap fill, right? And along with, we came into gap fill. The market got exhausted on gap fill, and there was a battle right out of the gate, right? And you can see there was a huge divergence here, and I mentioned in the morning, NQ usually leads, it doesn't follow, right? And as you can see, they attempted to make a push up. We had a negative 800 take out of the gate. They attempted to push up. We got to the gap fill. We found responsive sellers push us down from 2072, really 2073, all the way back down to 2068, right? Second time into the zone, kind of odd. We tried to push up behind the zone again. This became a tug of war between NQ and ES. NQ having a hard time holding Monday's low, ES not testing Monday's low. So whenever I see this, is immediately, for me at least, a warning sign to slow down. Now the other thing I want to point out is, again, you see we pushed to a new low, we consolidate for 20 minutes, 15, 20 minutes, and then push back up. This essentially became a trap. We pushed right back to the top of the range. We had a 50-60 retrace. Again, it was balanced. I'm very hesitant to trade in the middle of the range on a balanced day, but we did pull back to the 50-60 retrace, pushed off again, and then finally in the afternoon, remember, in the morning we were below Monday's low not once, not twice, but 3 times. Sellers had their opportunity to push down. They just simply could not capitalize on it. And again, ES was not moving in sync at all with NQ. I think it made the trading pretty hard. When sellers were unable to make that push on that last push below Monday's low, trap back above, and then finally, as I've been repeatedly warning, I think shorts are a bad idea in the afternoon, at least in this current environment, and we're able to make a push. Really, if you look from the lows, it's unfortunate we just missed the zone at 2064. Pushes all the way up to 2078, right? So, again, the fact that we didn't hit the zone was just, I would count that as being lethargic. The Globex low had landed right here, and there just wasn't a lot of energy behind the move. Otherwise, normally we would have tagged that, and you just can't be perfect on putting the zones every time. And so certainly wasn't perfect today. For me, the biggest win out of this was the not shorting in the afternoon. Although it is worth noting, again, for your track record and for your zones and making your trading decisions. First touch of zone, rejection down. Again, this is second, then this is third. Right, and again we get it to the first touch of this 2078 quarter, and we get rejection down. For me personally, I don't care if the zones are working on the short side in the afternoon. I think the risk is considerable. Getting run over, it's just not worth the anxiety and stress that's involved for me. So, to reiterate tomorrow's plan, first touch of the zone. On the downside, I expect responsive buyers. Expect tomorrow to be slow and have balance, which means on balance, when we push to new lows, I expect responsive buyers to push us back into the middle. And on initial pushes to new highs like we had here, actually you can see here we pushed to a new high, push back in, push to a new low, push back in, finally push to a new, at least on a closing basis, new high, quick push back in. Again, I don't think there's anything to do on the short side. Then finally first touch of zone here, rejection. So my plan is the same as it was today, which is I want to key off of 10-point rotations. And I want to, let's see, 10-point rotations, first time into the zone, tick divergence, and volume profile. One thing that I need that we're missing that's very important is the speed or the pace of the action. It's really hard to catch people off guard when the market's just not moving very fast, and you really have to be very, very committed to the trade in order to take it and hold all the way through from essentially 9:30 in the morning till the close takes an awful lot of commitment. Usually it's something more than what I'm capable of doing when I'm not utterly clear at the upside. So anyway, I think this is I think we did a good job today, and certainly not over trading in an environment like this is very beneficial. And we just have to realize the bigger trade plan tends to pay us well. If any individual day doesn't cooperate, well, c'est la vie. So anyways, I hope everyone has a wonderful night. There's not much more I had to say. I'll probably have to reset a little bit based on where we're opening. Tomorrow morning I might adjust the zones after 7:30 in the morning, but I'm pretty sure I did a good job with them again, and I have no doubt that we should find responsive buyers and responsive sellers first time in the zones tomorrow. Hope everyone has a good night, and I will see you on the morning.